Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your girl Mitzi, and this is Mitzi. Let's think about it. Today, we are thinking about loving yourself. It's a true thinker because we don't really think about that. Do you love you? I don't know. Well, luckily for me, I have a special guest, Tamara, who is on my podcast to share her lovely thoughts on this topic. Thank you so much for joining me and coming on my show.
Thank you so much, Mitzi, for having me. It's super nice. I'm super excited, and your mission is amazing. Like to think about it and to love ourselves. Yeah, super excited.
Yes. Awesome. So I guess the biggest question that everybody has is why is it so hard for us to love ourselves, but we can easily love other people?
Yeah, this is so good because we really have this kind of unconditional love for other people. And
Hmm.
exactly what you said. We tell ourselves stuff, or we talk to ourselves in a way that we will never talk to other people. Like this. So it's crazy. I will tell you. I think that the first thing that comes to my mind when we're talking about this is the brain is it's wired for survival,
Yeah.
so it's looking for danger. It wants to think of the worst case scenario to make sure that it keeps us alive. So this is why 85% of what we think on a daily basis is negative. I think it's called the bias, negative bias. That this is why people sometimes say, I'm a very negative person, or today I feel very negative, but I think it's just our brain that just wants to keep us alive. So this is why it's going to look for things that are going wrong in the world, but also with ourselves. So yeah,
Yeah.
this is, I think my first hypothesis on why we are so negative about ourselves in the first place.
No, that makes perfect sense because it's true. We are wired to, have that fight or flight response. So to hear that, it's an automatic thing to go into the negative side of things, because we are trying to save ourselves and protect ourselves. But we need to remember survival mode, right? We are constantly in survival mode. And I think that's the hardest thing as well because we live in this in our minds all the time. Don't you be living in your mind sometimes as well?
Yes, for sure. And I will tell you, I think that there's nothing wrong with having, the kind of thoughts such as maybe I'm not good enough or something's wrong with me, until we believe it to be true. The only problem, I think we all have, 60,000 thoughts per day, but most of them are unconscious, like I'm going to brush my teeth. This bread sounds nice. This kind of thoughts that it's the impact of believing them to be true is okay. But when we believe to be true, the thought something's wrong with me, or I'm never going to be consistent. Like the problem when we believe this, we show up in the world. I really believe that everything starts with what we're thinking. So it's just a guess, to know, like to think about that. If we believe something's wrong with me, just imagine how someone would behave in the world, having this thought, believing it to be true. So this is why I love always, when we talk about confidence and self-love, it's really about not believing everything our brain is telling us, no matter what kind of thoughts. We can question it because it's not because we believe something that it's necessarily true, you know.
Correct, correct. I like that point because I've had other guests, they say that too, and I love it when that's said
Ah,
because I think people need to just keep reminding themselves that the thoughts that come in our minds, we don't have to hold as true. We can trash
yeah.
it, we can keep going, we can ignore it. And it's like goes back to what you said is that when once we start believing and we're like, you know what, that is true. Like, no. No, it's not true. You are a great human being. You are lovable. You are beautiful. You are amazing. We just have
Yeah.
to continue to remind ourselves. Are you a strong believer in affirmations and manifestations and all that?
Yes, for sure. I do believe here that the difference that I think is important to notice is, to try to have belief. I like to say like thoughts, like trying clothes, like to see how they fit. So there are some clothes that don't look too good on us, but there are some thoughts such as I'm an amazing person. I can see how it's hard, sometimes for people to think this. So I think it's from a place of beating ourselves up and being very hard with ourselves. And as the episode is about self-love, I think the first step is even more to find this more calm and neutral place in the middle between even loving and being such a big fan of us, but more neutral, calm place. And for this, we can try thoughts on like clothes, such as, for example, I'm a human being. I have good days, I have bad days. for example, also I love the idea of like, I am not my thoughts, I'm not my emotions, I'm not my behaviors. Often we identify, we label ourselves as, oh, I said this, oh, I did this, oh, I reacted this way, this means this about me. But actually to just find this neutral place, just much more, relieving kind of. We don't have to love ourselves right away, but just to find kind of, acceptance, and just peace around being just a human being without having to be, fan number one. I think the step in the middle is just so much more believable also. So I love affirmation, but I think it's just more helpful when it's closest that fit, that we believe, that
Yeah.
make us feel good to think.
Yes, yes, I love that point because it's true. Sometimes we get too hot-headed and we're just all we become arrogant or conceited because
Mm,
you put yourself at a very high pedestal and reality is like, no, just put yourself right there. Come on down. Just to humble yourself to realize like, yes, I have limitations, but also if I put my mind to it and I actually go for it, anything is possible, so it's to have
yeah,
that equal ground is what's necessary. So
yeah.
that's
And
good. That's a good point.
yeah, and then just because you said it makes me think that then for ourselves, we can see how, again, differently we would show up during the day if we feel like, okay, I'm just a human being with a normal brain, that will offer me negative thoughts. I think we will show up more as people, kind of like calm people, present in the moment present. And of course, if we think I'm so good enough, like I'm so worthy, of course we're gonna show up in a different way. But I think the middle state is so good. And I just wanted to share this because I think you would like it. But the worthy, that self-love and basically giving ourselves permission, to believe something about ourselves, it comes often to feeling worthy. And I love the example that a newborn, it didn't do anything, didn't say anything, but it has so much value into people's eyes. So it shows that we are still grown-up newborns, but we do not need to achieve anything, to say anything, to be very valuable. So this is, I think, also another step to consider that our worth is absolute and there's nothing to achieve in this lifetime to feel worthy, I think.
Wow, that's
I went on another
beautiful.
topic, sorry. I felt like it
No,
was connected.
it works. I like it. I like it because that's a great way to see it. Not a lot of people realize that, as a newborn, when you just had a baby, you're so precious and everyone loves you and they're just like, oh my goodness, look at you. And then when you're adult, you feel like you no longer have that, but in reality, oh my goodness, look at you.
No, but and I think it goes also with this survival mode that as much I used to be a teacher, so I absolutely love kids. I don't have my own, and I'm not planning on it, which is another way of how to love yourself when you don't do what other people were supposed to do. As a woman,
Mhm.
another topic, but just to say that it's crazy how even in this survival mode, like you see a little baby, as much this is the relevance of me saying I don't really want kids, but still, if I see a small baby, I think the survival brain will want me, to take care, to make sure everything's fine. So the worthiness of a human being just because it's tiny and it's part of the fact people keep on reproducing themselves. I can assure you, if people would give birth to teenagers, I don't think it will be this. But you know what I mean? What I want to say by this is that the survival is just, it's amazing mechanism to see here also how much we are still worthy from being, we used to be newborns. I think everybody, unless I missed something, but
Oh, I love it. Oh my goodness, that is so funny. I don't blame you that you don't want kids because before I had kids, I didn't want kids either. And after having kids, I realized now I know why I never wanted kids. So I don't blame women who don't want to have kids because it's hard and it's ridiculous. And it's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, it's loving, it's amazing, but it's ridiculous. So I don't blame you. Stay as non-pregnant as you can. Enjoy your sleep, stretch, do whatever you want.
this is so
Enjoy
funny.
it, girl.
Yeah, but I'm sure it's still, I mean, but that is another conversation. But I
I
understand
know.
what you mean. But you see what I'm talking about with the newborn. I think this is the main.
I know. We both got
I'm really
sidetracked, but
laughing.
it's true. It's true. Goodness. So I guess to
Thank
get
you
back
for that.
on topic, when you hear the phrase "you have to love yourself before you love other people," what do you think about when you hear that?
It's interesting because I still think that it's not exclusive. Like I think I heard also somebody saying that, recently, very recently, probably in the morning with my morning coffee, I like to read. I think I read something about the fact that we can dislike and not love people's action, but we can always choose love because just it's an emotion that feels good, you know? So I hope I'm not going off topic for this, but I think that just because the emotion of feeling good, and I believe that our emotions come from what we're thinking, what we choose to think, because every thought is optional. We can actually love ourselves, love other people, the same level, hopefully, you know, as much as we have kind of unconditional love, you know, for people we really love, and to give this unconditional love, because I think deep down, and maybe this is another direction of this topic, but I think it's really often we want other people, you know, to love us or to give us back this love. So kind of to give ourselves permission that we're worthy of love. So in this direction, I would say that it's totally possible to love everyone and ourselves 1,000,000%. I just think it is true that it's very important to love ourselves for sure, and then love other people if we want to, just because there will never be enough people to tell us I love you, to take care of us, so we make it mean we're worthy to give ourselves this love. This is why I think it's, and this is why I made it, hope it's clear. This is why I
No,
made
it
it a bit
is
my mission.
clear.
You know,
It
yeah. Tell me if it
It
makes
is
sense.
clear. I understand what you're saying, and it's I'm telling you, there's nothing that you can go off topic because that's your
It's true.
perspective. You know what I mean? It's the way that you think about it. So you cannot say anything wrong on my show, hon. Nobody that comes on my show can literally say anything wrong just because that's what you think about when you think about that topic or that
Yeah.
phrase. And hey, you're right. That is something for us to really take into consideration.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
think we
because
can, oh yeah, sorry, go ahead. Because
no, go ahead, please.
I just think that we can always choose love, even if you know, somebody hurts us. And again, hurt, it's like it's not really a circumstance, which I love, you know, to make the distinction between in the world there are facts, like the weather, like somebody's weight, somebody's height, and then on the other side, you always have thoughts about these circumstances, which is where our power resides, you know. So this is why in the same situation you have different kind of interpretation. You know, one evening you have two different stories of like two different persons, like people being present. So this is where there is all of our power, and like I like really the idea that actually yeah, we can always, for every situation, decide what we want to think about it. And it goes with the idea of always choosing to love someone despite of the circumstance, what's happening, just because it feels better. Then we can always, you know, make a decision of being around this person again, or like doing this, being in this situation again. So this is always, you know, control. But I think just because the emotion of love feels good, you know, it just feels love for everyone. I think just because hate, not sure there are so many upsides, you know, outside of doing a
Mhm.
little introspection inside of us and looking at what do we don't like, you know. And most of the time when we judge and criticize others, you know, it's most of the time about us, you know, like it's like when you
Yeah,
point at somebody, like you have three fingers pointing it back at you, you know, and it's just so much more efficient and easy to take care of you than trying to change the world, you know, and people.
exactly. And I think that's a very good point because somebody told me that sometimes we pick other people's bad attributes or traits or habits that they may have because in reality those are the ones that we have within ourselves sometimes. Not saying it's
Mm,
for every single one, but you know, it's sometimes we pick those up and we acknowledge it, and that's why sometimes siblings have rivalries and
mm,
issues and parents, and you know, you can't have that understanding with your family because it's a habit that you have, you know. So I think it's interesting to see that how much humanity in general needs love and is yearning for it deeply, and they're really looking for love and that connection because like you said earlier, you can do it all by yourself. You can
mm.
train your thoughts to just love yourself, but sometimes we need to have that community so that we don't get lost within ourselves because too much isolation can truly, I believe, in my perspective, can really alter your mind. I mean, what do you think in that aspect?
Yes, 100%. And I see, you know, with COVID, I hear, you know, people from like starting to coach them a bit then. And now I really see how much people crave this real and true connection that you're talking about for sure. And I think, you know, as much as I'm saying, take care of yourself, you know, everybody says you cannot pour from an empty cup and everything. Of course, this is one part of it, but 100% sure on the other side, the survival brain again. It's just you have to be a part of the tribe, because back then, if you're not a part of the tribe, being appreciated, being loved, being cared for, you're gonna die, all alone in the world. So I think this is again the part of the brain that is, it's normal that I want people to love me. It's just I have a perfectly healthy brain, and it's just, yeah, I just want to be a part of the bride. It just makes it also first a bit more light, yeah, just my brain that is as amazingly evolved, but still it's still not a stupid brain, but kind of it's the primitive part of the brain, I guess. And
Mm,
then really the other side of yeah, of what you said, like it makes so much sense. It's true.
yes. So I guess my next question is, um, when did you started getting into coaching that you thought this was a good idea to help other people with?
Yes, so I used to be a teacher, which like I love the kids who were very authentic, much more simple, like uncomplicated. I loved it. And you would maybe agree. And then I started to be a bit interested in personal development, and I love the coaching because it's, I don't know, every time I love the idea of having a total different perspective on something, and being able to, yeah, to do whatever you want with your future if you will not always being but stuck in the past, and what you make it mean about the person that you are. So I started coaching. I have 3 certifications as of today, and I started to coach on, time management, weight loss, relationships, dating. And then I saw that deep down, we always came down to self-confidence, self-worth, and giving ourselves really permission to believe something about ourselves and to find this emotional peace, that no matter what's happening around us, we don't have to change the world or other people to feel good. And then I started coaching on confidence, and I added the fun tagline because I just think that it just everything, like we can find joy and fun in everything we do. Why not? So this is how I came down to coach confidence and on confidence. And in the long run, I'm learning American Sign Language now because I want to be able to coach like hearing people and also hard of hearing and deaf people in the future. So I hope everybody in the country, because did you know that there were sign language, like different sign languages in every country? Like Canada has one, England has one. So
Goodness, I did not know that. So you started with the American ones first. It's
yeah,
probably
because
the easiest.
I'm not sure, but I already have like most of my clients I have in Australia, Japan, but yeah, in the US, and I have a belief that life coaching is a bit more like people like it a bit more in the US. So I said, yeah, I'm gonna start there. But just to say, yeah, I'm sure that deep down we can all like be on a roll if we really trust ourselves and have our own back in every situation of
Yeah.
our day-to-day life, because then the impact is so incredible. You don't take things personally. You are just amazing company, and for yourself, of course.
Yes, I like that. I like your mission. I like the way that you think about these things and how you're motivated in
Thank you.
that direction of just trying to help other people. And you're right, in the US, we are more open in
Mm,
the idea of, assistance and seeking out help. We're slowly getting there, but we're most definitely doing it. And I think that community, the deaf and hard of hearing community, doesn't get acknowledged. And I think that's a great way to help them feel more acknowledged and feel more heard. Because for someone who's unable to speak or to hear, it's hard to tell them to have a voice.
mm.
And I think that's the best way to help them have a voice is having someone like you be able to give them that gateway to that area. So that's awesome. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. No, and I used to have a client that could not see. I don't want to say blind person because I don't identify somebody with, but you understood what I mean. And so I said to
Yeah.
myself, and this is how I learned sign language. And I think to myself, I could coach everyone that wants confidence. Not everybody wants coaching. Not everybody has to get coached. But it is true when you said this, I just imagine that every single soul that feel like this could be the missing piece to feel this, to find this emotional, genuine emotional peace and freedom. I think it's confidence. It's just knowing that you're just good with yourself, like you're okay, you can manage anything that comes your way.
Exactly, because confidence is very beautiful because you don't have to have um the belief behind it to actually portray it or to do it or to act on it. And sometimes when you portray it and do it and you act on it more and more and more, it helps you throughout your day and moving about because
Mm,
man, the world is scary. We have crazy people out there. So just just the basic drivings or walking nowadays, you can lose your life, you know? So you have to have confidence
So
to walk
true.
out your house. You know what I mean? To wake up in the morning, to get out of your bed, you have to have confidence sometimes because yes, you can get paralyzed just by looking the wrong way. So,
Yeah, and I think the self-love, it's still part of, it's totally like goes hand in hand with the self-confidence, because like yeah, you just have I will get there, unconditional love for yourself, even when you make mistakes, you react not like in a good way. Yeah, they go hand in hand. This is why I think it's beautiful.
I think that's awesome. So I have just one last question before we wrap up the show because I'm really curious. Because I know you said you were a teacher and that was easy for you, a lot easier than us adults that are hard-headed, you know. But my real question is, when did you realize for yourself that you had to go on your self-love journey and to find this confidence within yourself?
Such a good question. But I like,
That's a
yeah, I like
thinker.
clicking the button. No, it is true that I like to say also for like clients or even just people I like to talk to, like you, everybody, that I think it's important for me to have gone to some place to be able to take some people, like to really understand where they're coming from. I think it goes a bit back to the idea of a bit over the not the last few years, because I'm looking now, it's 2023, so I would say more like 2015, 2016. It's more of no matter what kind of lifestyle or decision, we mentioned this a bit before, but it's to I was really looking for people's approval and validation. Back then, if I would have known that it's also related to the survival instinct of wanting to be a part of the tribe, this is why I wished I would have a coach back then to be able to be coached and not reading lots of books and getting, sometimes these personal development books, it's like it could have been a blog post, but I still read the 250 pages of them. So, but what I want to say, yeah, I think it was really about the approval and validation that if people would give me, I would give myself permission to live the life exactly how I wanted, because I have to say that my partner is Israeli. I'm Swiss. We travel around the world. We don't have kids. We don't get married. I can assure you that this is making you, question how worthy you are in society. Like you don't have a normal job. I'm a fun and confidence coach. I can assure you that people had something to say about this title. So I think
Yeah.
really, yeah, it started really when I built all of this, and then I can see how I'm steps away ahead of helping people to, yeah, find this genuine peace, that people share their opinions and always mean well, but you just take the best and leave the rest. And yeah, I think this was yeah, one of the piece of it.
I I like it. I like your response. I think that's very good. I think what I like the most about it was how you were honest about reading those self-help
Mhm.
books because not a lot of people are honest about that. You know, I'm gonna be honest. Not a lot of people are honest. So I
Yeah.
appreciate that because sometimes I feel that those self-help books can help you to a certain extent, but they don't always help you where you really, really need it, you know. And I think
Yes, it's
where
true.
coaching and counseling and therapy, everything, all of that truly hits you in a different way where you can do those shifts in your perspectives and really start to change your life around and change the way you think and
Yeah.
change the way you move in the directory and all that good stuff. So that's great. So I'm glad that you were able to do that because look at you now. You know, you're doing it. You're doing great things. I mean, I'm so
Yeah.
proud of you. I think this is a great thing that you're doing. And I'm pretty sure you telling people that you're just a fun coach is just like
What's
I
that?
don't think yeah, like I don't think that's true, but okay.
I don't know. Thank you for saying this. And I think also, what, for coaching, what I like, and it's different from other just approach, because I like, it's like solving the big things in life by approaching the everyday situations, which is exactly what you said. I love self-help books, but they are kind of sometimes very inspirational, but I like to get to the source of, every problem and the exact situation. And then you can coach around, again, it goes down to coaching around what we're thinking, because this is what opened up all of our life. Everything that's around us started from something we're thinking. So if we want to change anything, we have to look at what's going on inside.
Exactly, exactly. And that's why I have my show because it's
Yeah,
all about thinking. Because, like you
exactly.
said, it all comes down to our thoughts. So, what do we think about when we think about everything, that's the whole point of this. So thank you so much for being on my show. I truly
Thank you.
appreciate you. You really gave some great information, and it was a really just great time talking to you. It was just like if I was
Thank
talking to a
you.
friend. It was such an awesome time. So I appreciate that. But before we fully wrap up, what can be some lasting words that you can leave my audience off with?
A few words only.
Mhm.
No,
Let's
it's
see.
true that I see your background. Like, let's think about it. And yeah, I think just one thing to pick up today for also related to confidence and self-love, I would just say this, like, do not believe everything you're thinking. And I think this can also, without having to fix ourselves, there's nothing, we don't have to be fixed, we don't have to be solved or anything. We just do it for the fun of loving ourselves more. But yeah, do not believe everything you think. Like, pay attention to what you're thinking and detach from it. You are not your thoughts. I think this is why, because I read Let's Think About It. It's what comes
And
to
it
my
made you
mind.
think about it. Ah, see, I do that to
Exactly.
people. Awesome, y'all. If you
Thank
guys
you.
want to know more about Tamara, please check out my website. I have her lovely photo there, and right under it, you could just click on her website and just goes directly to her. She has some great information and she has her own podcast. So why not follow her, right? So check it out. Always be thinking, y'all. Be safe out there. Bye.